moving forward, we have Gregg Steinberg, who's the CEO of Greenway DNA.
Thank
Greg,
you.
you're up to bat.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me just share my screen here. I appreciate the time and thank you. At Greenway DNA, we are bringing you a bio-wellness trifecta: device, technology, and data. And we're doing that to solve a problem. A problem that's dealing with a consumer dilemma of what is the right dosage for me. A study showed that 48% of people utilizing cannabis are using a trial and error methodology relative to dosing. That means money spent that doesn't have to be. It means trial and error, means poor efficacy, poor impact. Trial and error means not getting the most you can out of the power of this plant, or even worse, not utilizing the plant because you have a poor or ineffective result the first time. Looking at core areas, we look at it, 50 million people with chronic pain, 40 million with anxiety, 60 million with sleeping disorders, and that's just in the US. And Greenway's technology platform can be used globally. The solution that we brought to market is relative to THC and CBD dosing, looking at your specific genetic makeup and how it impacts your body relative to metabolism, your receptors, and the messaging that gives to your body in terms of transduction. You heard earlier from Dr. Carrillo and others relative to the endocannabinoid system and how it impacts our appetite, our mood, pain, pleasure, our body systems, specifically across receptors like CB1 and CB2. We are looking at THC and CBD right now in terms of dosing recommendations. And in the future, we'll be looking at other major cannabinoids and minor ones as well, like THCVA, CBG, CBN, etc., and how they impact our body. As you heard, CB1 and CB2 are core receptors in the body. There are many others also that impact our liver, our kidney, our stomach, our brain, our skin, how we act on a day-by-day basis. We look at each one of these relative to your specific genetic profile and how they impact with CBD and THC. Here you can see how CBD is impacted across many different receptors in the body. How we metabolize, fast or slow. Our receptors are open or closed. The messaging that goes to the body are all impacted by our individual genetic makeup. While we're all very, very similar, one base pair difference in our DNA profile has an impact on how we take up CBD and THC, how much we should be taking or how little we should be taking for a specific medical condition. We look at 40 different genetic variants across 20 different genes relative to the endocannabinoid system. We tie that to our proprietary algorithms that are linked to specific peer-reviewed scientific research on a global basis. We filed 2 patents, one in the cannabis space and one in the psychedelic space. In psychedelics, also looking at dosing recommendations to specific chemical profiles that you might find in ketamine, psilocybin, ayahuasca, MDMA, etc. The kit is very easy to use. You get the kit, spit into a tube, put the tube back into a prepaid box. It goes to a third-party lab in Oregon that's a CLIA certified molecular deep genetic lab tied to a university. And a couple of weeks later, we send you a report. At a high level, you get dosing recommendations for specific medical conditions. We go 4 levels deep in this report. At the deepest level, a genetic researcher, genetic scientist can look at the variants that we look at, the medical research that we're tied to, and understand why we're making the recommendations that we are. Let's talk about data. Many people think that there's a correlation between weight and dosing. Here you can see no correlation between CBD or THC dosing and weight. We see this with many other medical conditions. Here's one on insomnia. We also see this as we parse data across age or across gender. Here's an example of data that we see across 10 individuals where what they're actually taking versus what we recommend. Here, not enough CBD, way too much THC. In this situation, too much CBD, too much THC. This means poor efficacy, poor impact, not getting the most and maximum value that this plant can bring. We have a very experienced team. I've spent decades growing and scaling companies. One hit the Inc. 500 top 10 2 years in a row with $2 billion in organic revenue. In cannabis, I've been in the space for 6 years, running a company that some of you might know, Growcentra, with our product brand Mammoth, the leading biostimulant in the cultivation industry globally. My partner, Dr. Ry Wagner, came from a Nobel Prize-winning genetic lab, went into the private sector, had an exit, ended up with Dow, running their global new ventures program for 6 years, now back into the entrepreneurial side of life. The rest of our senior team is deeply experienced in their own areas of focus.
1 minute left.
We have a wonderful scientific advisory board. Some of them you might not know. Dr. Carrillo, you heard from earlier today, and some of you might know the work of Dr. Knox. Sales channel, broad-based, B2B, B2C, D2C. In fact, anywhere that you might be able to find a THC or a CBD-based product on the shelf, we hope one day you'll find a Greenway DNA kit. We're raising $2 million in funding. So far, we've self-funded for the last 3 years. This will be the first money that we're raising. We're raising at a $6 million pre-money valuation. I invite you to ask questions and to join us on our trifecta pathway to wellness, and look forward to questions from the judges. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Really exciting stuff here.
Thank you.
We'll start with the questions. Scott, I'm gonna go to you first if you had a question, because I know I didn't catch you last time. Scott?
I'm good right now. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
That was for the last thing.
Okay. Carol, do you have any questions on this?
I have several. I'm just going to focus on two. How much is the price, Greg, of your technology? First of all, congratulations. Sorry about my dog. I think this solves one of the biggest challenges that we have in the industry, which is dosification. We all know that everyone has a unique endocannabinoid system, so this is very exciting. How much is your technology? What is your customer profile? I mean, this is the you're targeting doctors, you're targeting patients, and where are you going to ready to to send us to Latin America? Are you focusing on clinics? How are you visualizing your end customer?
Sure, fantastic, and good to see you, Carol. The MSRP on the product, if you went up to our website to buy it today, you'd buy it for $149. You go through other channel partners that we have, you'll see a range typically in that same type of price range. Channel partners, health and wellness clinics, dispensaries, pharmacies, retail stores, vitamin places that are selling CBD products, et cetera, right across the board. And we're looking for partners on a global basis. We're talking to people in Australia, we're talking to people in the UK, in Canada, in Europe. Love to chat about doing something in Latin America as well. Obviously, it's a technology that can be used globally and has no borders or barriers to it.
Thanks, Greg. Blake?
Just a quick question. I'm always curious about this too. I love the data sets and what you guys are doing. If you do get this technology in place and it's 100% there, how do you transition it into the actual marketplace? As in, you can say this client works, like this product will work exactly as we say it does. Because I mean, I know everyone that tries different products and there's the slightest amount of THC and they just get like heart palpitations. And some people it doesn't affect them at all. So how do you transition that into the actual marketplace for people to trust you and then buy that certain product from all these brands and customers out there?
Right. Well, we're not going to focus on specific products relative to making recommendations. Go buy this strain or go buy this person's product. We're happy to partner with products, and we have partnered with a number of CBD products. So it's interesting with the conversations that are going on right now through the course of this day, where those brands are taking a look at the results that are coming from our test and making recommendations to their customers that out of their product line, if you're trying to take one of our products for insomnia, let's say, take this one versus that one because of the results of the test. And so we're looking for channel partners from that perspective. We've done research internally. We're also doing clinical research, and we're looking for partners on the clinical research side as we continue to dial in on other types of medical conditions that are more serious than some of the ones that we're currently looking at.
Thank you.
Great question, Blake. Gary.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Gary.
Great to see you and great presentation. I just wondered, what are your revenue estimates for the next couple of years, and what's your expected gross profit margin on your sales?
Sure. I was going to share a screen, but I can't do that. So we're looking to ramp up over the next 12 months to about $1.5 million in revenue, scaling that up to into the teens revenue, and then a little bit higher than that over the next couple of years. We're looking at this raise giving us about 18 months worth of runway in terms of getting to cash flow positive side of life. And that's all relative to sale of kits into the cannabis space. We haven't built anything in relative to the psychedelic space, and we haven't built anything in terms of revenue relative to utilizing the data in some manner.
Just to the second part is, what's your expected gross profit margin?
Right. Margins should be around 50% today. And as we scale up to economies of scale, with more kits as we put through the system, we can get that up into the 70% range.
Scott?
Yeah, what's the competitive landscape look like?
It's pretty wide open right now. I think we've got pretty much of a greenfield. We're not the only ones out there. There are some other companies out there providing reports, let's say. Many of them are allowing you to suck into their system 23andMe and Ancestry.com type of a report and give you a report back. What 23andMe, as an example, looks at is public information. About 20% of the variants that we look at, they look at. So 80% of what we're looking at don't exist in 23andMe or Ancestry.com type of report. And so we believe that the information that's coming back on those type of reports is sort of not in the same ballpark, so something that we won't do. And the scientific depth that we go through, because of some of my academic partners, is done at a clinical level research. Nobody in the industry is doing clinical level DNA genetic sequencing. Everything we do could be published in a peer-reviewed paper. So I think we've got a market leader there.
Great, thank you.
Jeff.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah,
Really
hi.
strong
Have you
work with
guys-
Greenway DNA.
Sorry. Have you guys been able to raise any money through grants and medical research?
We haven't tried to do anything through any of those avenues yet. In one of my prior companies, we did get 2 SBIR grants, phase 1, phase 2. And I think, next stage here, once we can get some federal regulatory change, we can certainly do that. Maybe what passed the House yesterday, that gets on the other side, we'll be able to do that for looking at that. We have looked in Canada and some other places relative to some non-dilutive funding, but we haven't applied for any yet.
All right, and real quickly, the money you're looking to raise now, that's just to help you market your existing product. And how much money will you need to do to fill out the whole spectrum of the product?
It's a combination. It's that's $2 million is being utilized both to scale on the biz dev side for our current product, but it's also to continue to build bioinformatics and database. It's looking at automating much of our report process, but it's also looking at research and clinical trials, both in cannabis as well as in psychedelics. So we've got about 750,000 of the 2 million focused on clinical research, clinical trials, both in cannabis and psychedelics.